Jupiter is the biggest planet in the solar system. Its gravity is 2.4 times Earth's. That means if you weight 80 kilograms on Earth, you effectively weight 192 kilograms the moment you arrive here. But imagine a population of humans stranded on Jupiter for 10,000 generations, long enough for selection pressure to do what it does, long enough for the weak to be eliminated and the adapted to survive. What do they look like? They are short, much shorter than you, probably under 1.2 meters tall because height in high gravity is a structural liability. Every extra centimeter of height adds more weight for the skeleton to support, more vertical distance for the heart to push blood upward, more leverage force on the joints. Their legs are extraordinary. Think of the legs of an elephant, thick, columnar, built to be load-bearing structures rather than agile limbs. The bones in those legs have a density 2 to 3 times that of your femur, where your thigh bone is hollow and lightweight. Theirs is packed solid, where your knee is flexible and angular. Theirs is wide and deeply reinforced. They cannot jump. What they have instead is endurance, the ability to carry enormous loads on a high-gravity world without their skeleton failing under the pressure. Their heart is twice the size of yours. Not because it beats faster, but because it has to generate twice the pressure to move blood from the feet to the brain. Their arteries are thicker walled than any human alive today. Their chest is broad and barrel-shaped to accommodate this oversized cardiac system. And here is the thing about the Jupiter human that should genuinely unsettle you. If one of them came to Earth, they would be by any physical measure a superhuman. They could lift a car, their bones dense enough to withstand Jupiter gravity, are essentially unbreakable here. Venus is the planet that proves hell is a real place, and it is 41 million kilometers from Earth. The surface temperature is 465 degrees Celsius. The atmospheric pressure is 92 times Earth's, the equivalent of being 1 kilometer underwater. The clouds are made of sulfuric acid. If it rains on Venus, it rains acid. The air itself will dissolve you. Now, 10,000 generations later, Venus humans, their skin is nothing like yours. It is a dense, layered exoskeleton, not quite like an insect's chitinous shell, not quite like armor, but something in between, a biological equivalent of acid-resistant plating that evolved because anything softer got dissolved. The color is deep golden amber because the specific proteins that resist sulfuric acid degradation happen to have a warm metallic pigmentation. They are visually striking in a way that no human alive today is. They look like they were built from a different material than biological tissue. They have no traditional lungs. The Venusian atmosphere is 96.5% carbon dioxide with significant sulfur dioxide present. There is no oxygen. No conventional respiratory system can function here. Over generations, the Venus human evolved a completely different metabolic pathway, one that extracts chemical energy directly from the sulfur compounds in the atmosphere through a process similar to chemosynthesis, the same system used by deep-sea organisms around hydrothermal vents on Earth. Their eyes are covered with a thick, transparent biological membrane that is constantly refreshed from the inside, washing away any acid that contacts the surface before it can cause damage. It looks at first glance like they have no pupils, just smooth, reflective eye surfaces that catch light in an eerie and inhuman way. But underneath the membrane, their visual system is intact and functional, adapted to the orange-filtered light of the Venusian sky. Their blood is not red. The hemoglobin that makes your blood red and carries oxygen is useless in an oxygen-free environment. Venus human blood carries chemical energy extracted from sulfur compounds and distributes it through the body in a completely different fluid. Thick, dark, slow-moving, nothing like the fast oxygenated blood your heart pumps right now. They are the most alien version of human on this list, and they are also the toughest. Neptune is the quietest-looking planet in the solar system. It is also trying to kill you faster than any other planet on this list. Not with gravity or with acid, with wind. Neptune has winds that reach 2,100 kilometers per hour. That is faster than the speed of sound on Earth. The temperature at the cloud layer where a human might theoretically exist is around negative 200 degrees Celsius. There is almost no light. Neptune is 30 times farther from the sun than Earth, meaning sunlight there is 900 times weaker than what you experience on a clear afternoon. You would be in near total darkness. Neptune humans are built around two problems above all others: cold and wind. Against the cold, they evolved a thick subcutaneous blubber layer. Not fat in the ordinary sense, but a densely structured biological insulation that functions similarly to what whales and walruses carry on Earth. The Neptune human looks broader than a modern human, softer in outline but harder in reality. Blubber layer is dense and protective, and the limbs beneath it are lean and powerful. Against the wind, they evolved aerodynamics. Their body shape is unconsciously streamlined. The head is rounder, the ears are vestigial or absent entirely. The nose is reduced to small internal slits that can seal completely against the wind. Their posture is a permanent forward lean. Their surface is smooth. They move through the wind the way a submarine moves through water, not fighting it, but deflecting it. Their eyes are the most immediately striking feature. Neptune is dark, a permanent, near-total absence of light. Their eyes are enormous, occupying a much larger proportion of the face than human eyes, with pupils that dilate to almost the full width of the iris. The structure of the eye is more similar to a deep-sea fish or an owl than any current human. Their skin is pale blue, a deep saturated bioluminescent blue, because in a world without light, being able to produce your own becomes a survival advantage for communication, for attracting mates, for coordinating within your group in the dark. The Neptune human in full display glow is one of the most visually extraordinary things in this thought experiment. Saturn is the most beautiful planet in the solar system. It is also one of the least dense. Its gravity is only 1.07 times Earth's. The atmosphere is almost entirely hydrogen and helium. There is no solid surface. You do not land on Saturn. You float in it. The challenge here is not surviving crushing gravity or acid rain. The challenge is movement and pressure and breathing thin gas. Saturn humans evolved to fly, not with wings exactly, with gliding membranes, broad panels of skin that extend from the wrist to the lower torso on both sides, similar in concept to the patagium of a flying squirrel or a sugar glider, but far larger and far more capable in Saturn's dense lower atmosphere where the gas is thick enough to provide significant lift. The Saturn human can spread these membranes and ride the convective currents between the atmospheric bands, ascending on thermals, descending through the cloud layers, traveling horizontal distances of hundreds of kilometers without landing because there is nothing to land on. Their limbs are long and light. The opposite of the Jupiter human in almost every dimension where the Jupiter human is dense and compressed. The Saturn human is elongated and lean, long fingers for catching air currents, long legs for directional control during glides, a spine that bends with unusual flexibility, allowing them to shift their center of gravity while airborne. They are the most graceful version of human on this list. Their chest cavity is enormous, not from a massive heart like the Jupiter human, but from massive lungs. Saturn's atmosphere is thin in terms of usable gas. Every breath extracts less from the air than a breath on Earth. The Saturn human compensates with lungs that fill most of the chest cavity, processing huge volumes of gas with each breath to extract the minimal useful components available. Their skin is adapted to temperature variation between atmospheric bands, insulating at higher altitudes where it is cold, ventilating at lower altitudes where the compression of the gas raises temperature. It shifts between pale gold at altitude and deeper amber lower down, a biological thermometer visible from a distance, and they never touch the ground. The Saturn human has no concept of a surface, no instinct for the solid, no fear of falling in the way you experience it. Their fear is of stillness. Their instinct is to rise. 4 planets, 4 completely different solutions to the problem of being alive.